Hi, I am going to give you a quick overview of the JD Edwards EnterpriseOne 64-bit code converter. I will be explaining why a code converter is necessary. I'll show you some examples. I'll explain how the code is converted, and I'll point out when the conversion takes place. First, let's talk about the why. When moving from a 32-bit to a 64-bit system, we have found that depending on the platform that you are using, the data type sizes may vary. For example, the long and integer data types on a 32-bit system are the same size. They are both 4 bytes. However, when moving to a 64-bit system, the integer data type remains 4 bytes on all platforms, but the long data type varies. The long data type is 4 bytes on Windows and I series, but it's 8 bytes on Unix Linux systems. Time T is 4 bytes on a 32-bit system, but in a 64-bit system, it varies. It's 4 bytes on I series and 8 bytes on Windows and Unix Linux systems. Another example is size T. On 32-bit systems, it's 4 bytes. But in a 64-bit system, it's 8 bytes on all systems except for the I series. On the I series, it is 4 bytes. In order for our software to work consistently across all of our supported platforms, we found that we needed to change nearly 7,000 JD Edwards business functions, not to mention any custom business functions that you have created. Because of the enormous volume of code that needed to be changed, it was decided to create a conversion utility so that rules could be applied consistently across all business functions. So what did we do? In order to have consistency across all platforms, we needed to convert several data types in our code so that our 64-bit code line would behave the same way that it does in our 32-bit system. For example, we changed all forms of the long data types to its corresponding integer data types. As you may recall, in a 32-bit system, the long and integer data types are the same size, 4 bytes. We did this so that our code would continue to work in the same way as it did in our 32-bit system. We created a new data type called JDE Time T to work like Time T, but it is now 8 bytes across all platforms. We also created a new data type called JDE Size T to work like Size T, but it is now 4 bytes across all platforms. So how did we create the code converter? We created a simple Windows regex to search and replace all data types that we used that were different sizes between 32 and 64-bit systems. As an example, we took all forms of the long data type and changed them to their corresponding integer data types. Where we found time T's, we replaced them with JDE time T's, and where we found size T's, we replaced them with JDE size T's. So now that you know a little more about the code converter, you will want to know when the code converter gets run. By taking advantage of the files in the database enhancement that came out in 9.2.1.0, the code converter runs automatically in the following places: package build, OMW check-in, ESU deployment, and biz build. You can run the code converter on demand by calling R9664CONV. You can use this UBE to convert a particular path code's include and source files to 64-bit. The path code must already have the 32-bit include and source in the repository table F98780R. You now have a better understanding of our code converter and what it does for you. Thanks for watching.